Hey, Amy,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amy Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? She is Amy Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. You are listening or watching Baseball Shangri-La. If you're listening to us on the audio portion of the podcast, please make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review, help spread the word. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us comments. We love engaging with you. And most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media. On X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. We dropped another gem for you on our Instagram this past weekend. I don't know about you guys, but I know I'm very photogenic. But what I love about the picture that we dropped on our social media is how our listeners have glossed us with nicknames. So I am Mr. Reality Check, and Amy is Princess Leia. And she is, for those of you listening on the audio portion of the podcast, Amy, do you want to tell everyone what you're holding up?
I have my Princess Leia Funko Pop. You know, right next to Kike. I don't want them to be lonely.
Nerd alert! For those
You
of
got
you,
to witness so many nerd alerts this weekend.
yeah, there was a lot of the alarm was going off this weekend. But again, if you're listening on the pod to the audio portion, go to the YouTube so you can see Amy playing with her toys. It just reminds me of that great scene in Spaceballs when Dark Helmet is playing with his dolls, and then they knock on the door, and then they go, "Did you see anything?" And they go, "No, we didn't see you playing with your dolls again, sir." And that's exactly what Amy was doing. Amy, ¿cómo estás?
Hi. It's long time no see. What has it been? Like 24 hours? Less than.
Yeah. We actually, not only did I get to see Amy this weekend, but I got to see the musical genius, the author of our great theme song, AJ Padilla, this weekend. So AJ, I'm glad they finally got an air conditioning booth for you, just as they're about to go on the road. So I'm sure the timing is just perfect. But big thank you again to AJ for creating our theme song.
He's amazing. I got to see him. I got to see him both days, and he's always around the stadium, always working hard. He's one of the best guys.
So let's get into it, Amy. Before we wrap up what the Dodgers so far have had a very successful homestand, winning 5 out of 6. Let's go to our updates. Since you were there this weekend, what did Dave Roberts tell you? What is something new that we need to learn about this team?
Well, if you hadn't heard already, Glasnow on Saturday ended up playing light catch, so up to 60 feet. And when people asked when we would potentially see him, uh, it sounds like it's going to be a slower process than everybody expected. So he kind of outlined he has to make it up to 90 feet, then 120, then throw farther than that. So it should be a slower process than initially anticipated. But we could see him by the end of the season.
Before you move on,
Don't you bring your Prince of Darkness vibes here, sir.
I am your reality check.
Okay.
Did they not say 15 days that they were pretty confident that he was going to come back within 15 days?
I don't know if you know this about like medical conditions, but sometimes what is the word I'm looking for? Oh, they evolve. Stuff happens. Like that was the best case. They were hoping it would be 15 days. It's not. So I guess the better question would be, why do you get your hopes up when it's, hey, just take it as it comes?
I don't get my hopes up. And this is why I am doing a service for the fellow Dodger fans. The fellow Dodger fans, and I am their reality check, because this is why I bring this up, because a lot of people like to reference the fact that Tyler Glasnow said that he could have pitched that start when they put him on the IL.
Yeah, so did River Ryan, and look who just had Tommy John surgery. So,
But a lot of people sit there and go, well, I trust the player because the player knows their body better than anyone. So if the player says that they could pitch, then I don't think this is as serious. And all I'm saying is this, is if he was okay, he would be pitching. If he was fine, he would be pitching. So it's something to watch. Watch this space. I just don't. Yeah.
We don't have any choice but to watch.
Again, I'm doing it for those fans out there that are like this and be like, oh, everything is fine. No pasa nada. Everything is fine. I just want to remind them, look, they say one thing, be prepared for the outcome in the other hand. Don't you have a saying with something one hand and then the other hand you have?
Wish in one hand. What is it? Juan in the other.
So there we go. Anyways, continue with your update. I love how you set that one up. So
Okay. So Yamamoto, if anybody hadn't heard, he's set to throw a bullpen today, Monday, actually. And then he's going out on a rehab start with Oklahoma City starting Wednesday. And then he did mention that, yes, River Ryan did have surgery. It was successful, and he should be back next week. So aside from that, I think it was all the other stuff that we kind of saw throughout the week. Some of it we're going to touch on in a little more detail, but Tommy Edman got activated on last Monday, got his first Dodgers hit. He hit a single. Muncy came back and in Muncy form hit a home run on Monday as well. So got reactivated a little bit earlier because of Freddie Freeman's injury, but Freddie Freeman is still playing through the pain. So, it's typical Freddie, right?
that's right. And shouts out to the Sobador who fixed Muncy again. We're going to be sending him a fruit basket because the Dodgers lineup definitely does look different with Muncy back in it. Please continue.
Oh, thank you. Gratterall threw a bullpen on Saturday, and he's set to start his rehab next week if all continues to go well. And Tony Gonsolin was out actually throwing this weekend, so saw him playing catch in the field on Saturday, and then he threw a sim game on Sunday. And there's the potential that we could see him in 2024. Doc said that the door was slightly open, and it would only be like in a reliever capacity, but I'm not going to hold my breath. We'll see what happens. Plus, we already have enough issues, lineup, log jam, whatever. So I can see you laughing over there.
Yeah, because I'm about to hit the bullshit alarm, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. I am calling bullshit on that. Look, we were in that pregame scrum when Dave Roberts said that. Now,
it's it's good to have goals.
Yeah. One of the things I do want to point out is that the beat writers spoke to Tony Gonsolin before we spoke to Dave Roberts. And Tony Gonsolin actually threw before Sunday's game. He threw off the mound at Dodger Stadium. My thing is this. Weren't we hearing the same thing about Walker Buehler last year? That he might make it back at the end of the year.
That's why it's a slightly open door. It is not an open door.
For me, I just surprise me. All right. You don't have to say anything. To me, I think what you say is 2025 is what we're aiming for. Because
that's basically what he said. I mean,
exactly. But this whole leaving the door ajar, that wasn't necessary. There was no need to do that. Maybe
that's him backing his player, giving him hope. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, because for me, what I'm concerned about is Gonsolin hears that, and I'm sure they're having a different conversation with Gonsolin behind closed doors. But there is a part of me that wonders, and as I said, the beat writers did talk to Gonsolin after he threw off the mound on Sunday, this idea, and it seems like they've only spoken to, according to Gonsolin, they've only spoken to him in terms of a relief option.
Correct.
But I'd hate for him to try to, overdo it just to be able to get on the mound, where it's just like right now. I mean, Amie, would you trust Gonsolin in a relief role?
Right now? No, he's not built up.
Exactly. So why rush it?
Oh, I thought you meant right now, we play tomorrow, we throw him in.
No. I mean, even if in September, Like, would you feel confident pulling him out there? The guy hasn't pitched all year when you already have other arms that, at least in my opinion,
Well,
I
isn't that
have
what we're
more
doing with
faith.
Gratterall?
But I'm not convinced that Gratteroli is going to pitch or be on the postseason roster. I mean, that guy's missed a lot of time, and we saw what happened when he came back. So I am counting on the guys that are here now and
Mhm.
that are pitching.
I
Those
think
are the
that's
guys.
healthy. That's a healthy mindset, my
Thank you.
friend.
I
I'm
see. I
very
learned
proud
from
of
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, I see. And you say I don't listen to you.
You
I
do.
listen. I listen to you.
Except when I turn around and look at you in the press box and you're eating ice cream, your soft serve with coffee cake again.
I'm sorry, what?
Soft serve with coffee cake.
I know, but you see, you missed what I okay. Yeah. By the way, you finally got it. I again, she brings me my coffee cake in the press box, and then I mix it in with my soft serve, and then what are you supposed to say?
Oh, no. Then he texts me, look,
Exactly. And what are you supposed to say?
see, chef.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Any more updates?
So Hunter Fiducia did get recalled again. And so he made his Dodger Stadium debut. So while he did pinch hit a couple weeks back in one of the later innings, he had one at bat. He actually got to start the game. He played at catcher with Gavin Stone, who he's used to catching. So Dave Roberts had nothing but good things to say about him. He's calm. He works well with Grove. They trust him. So it was good. I think the only other thing I had on my list was that they did flip Walker and Flaherty this week to give Walker an extra day of rest. So Flaherty will be pitching on Tuesday and Walker will be pitching on Wednesday.
You're missing a big one, and I know you probably left it
I
out because
left
we're
it
gonna
off
go
on purpose.
Just tease it. Just tease it.
No, I can't. You do it.
All right. So the one you left out is the Dodgers designated for assignment, Jason Hayward. And at the time of the recording of this episode, which is Monday afternoon, we do have the latest update on Jason Hayward, and that is he did clear waivers. So Jason Hayward right now is a free agent. So again, he hasn't till September 1st to get on somebody else's roster, so he would be eligible for the postseason. I'm sure there are going to be some teams that are very interested in signing him for a stretch run. We're going to get into more the whole decision and how it impacts the Dodgers in our next episode. But that is the latest update. Jason Hayward has cleared waivers, and he is officially a free agent.
I'm bummed. Still.
Okay, we're gonna get more of your feelings in our
no,
next
that was
episode.
it. I just have the one feeling.
She has one feeling on it. She's not conflicted. She clearly knows how she feels about this. All right, so those are the updates. So we're going to let's start with the Marineros series because the Dodgers came in and the Marineros came in and they got swept. That series, it's interesting to me because they win all three games, which is always a good thing. But I think there was a little bit of a mixed bag in that series. One thing to me that is obvious, and I, as a Seattle Mariners fan, and shouts out to Dave Stiles, who comes from the Pacific Northwest and is a fan of the Fighting Tridents. Just because he's from there, he works for the Dodgers. He's still a Dodgers fan, but he has a soft spot in his heart for the Fighting Tridents. That team offensively is really inept, and it's too bad. It is too bad because those starters, I was very impressed with the Marineros starting pitching. And if they could get any semblance of offense, for the good part of the year, they were in first place in their division. And they have just since the All-Star break really fallen on hard times. And that's also part of the reason why I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag, Amie, is because, all right, the Dodgers swept them, which is always great. But how much is it really saying about the team? Because
I hate when you do that.
Why?
Because it's still baseball. Like it's like if you look at if you look at the scorecards, like these guys, our team didn't really even start scoring until later in the innings. There were a couple we got in the third inning, couple in the fourth, but but typically when they were scoring in these games, it was after the 5th.
Well,
so
because
to your point, the starters were
that's why it's got to be frustrating to be a Marineros fan, because you have those great starting pitching performances that are going to waste. All I'm saying, Amy, is sweeping the Marineros feels a little bit like that episode of Seinfeld when Kramer kicks the crap out of all those little kids in the karate class. He's a grown man, kicking the crap out of these kids.
I don't know about that, but okay.
So, what did you see? Give me the positives. From that series for you.
Well, initially we definitely saw some small balls starting at least like Wednesday, but it like really kind of picking up that led into the next series with the Rays, which we'll talk about. But Muncy came back, like I said, firing on all cylinders. He hit a home run. Lux hit a home run. So the guys started hitting a little bit more, and then, true to form, next day, Lux and Muncy again hit home runs in the game. And it was nice to see them kind of, I don't know. Lux has been hitting. He's been really good, which, as you like to throw out to the people who were not on Lux's train for a while, like he's doing really well. So to have Muncy come in and kind of just match, like go, bat for bat with him was kind of cool. Stone went 7 innings, actually in both games that he pitched in, but we had a little trouble with Walker Buehler. He went 4 innings in that Tuesday game. Still need a little work, but I think he managed to kind of at least staunch the bleeding. Oh, you are muted and we're missing all your wisdom. Oh no!
All right. I'm going to put a pin in that Walker Buehler thing. I want to come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to come back to that because I just want to focus on the positives.
Okay.
So I want all the good stuff to come out, General Organa. So you tell me.
Okay. Well, we did shut them out on Monday, and then there was that little scuff with Flaherty and Arozarena on Wednesday, where Flaherty hit Arozarena with a pitch in the second inning, top of the second. And so he took exception to that, but with the count that they were on, it was like, why would I, I'm not throwing at you. And then in the top of the third, Arozarena flew out and there were some words exchanged. But the post-game interview was very respectful. So, I guess we'll never really know what was said, aside from if John Boy does it and does a accurate rendering.
Yeah, like for me, the most violent exchange in that is probably Jack Flaherty's cutoffs that he wears in the post-game interviews.
He said he likes it because it makes he can breathe better. It keeps him cool.
Yeah. Look, I've been in that clubhouse. It's very stuffy in there. I mean, like the air does not circulate well there, but he does love showing his arms and his shoulders.
We have other players who wear cutoff shirts too, sir.
Oh, I'm my bad. Am I singling out Jack Flaherty?
Yeah, a little bit.
Am I shaming? Am I body shaming?
Don't you
Are you
shame
calling
him
me out?
Don't shame him for his clothing choices. Let him wear what makes him feel comfortable.
Are you calling me out? I was not body shaming. I am in the last person that should be body shaming anyone.
His clothing choices.
I go to the beach and I have to avoid being harpooned. It's very dangerous.
Oh,
there.
My friend, dear Juan. No. We're not shaming you either, and you don't get to shame yourself. So there was, I guess the last thing I will mention was there was a little bit of small ball in the bottom of the 5th inning in Wednesday, because that's the game we won 8-4. And we ended up scoring 5 runs in that inning, and Muncy hit a bases clearing triple. Like it was so good to see these guys moving each other over. Love when they hit home runs, but those aren't, as we've talked about before, those are not always consistent. You can't count on that. And a lot of the runs in the most recent series did come from home runs. So it's nice to see them making a little bit of a shift, especially as we near the postseason, because that's what we're going to need.
And for those of you wondering why we haven't mentioned Justin Turner, we are going to go into further detail in Justin Turner's return to Dodger Stadium in our next episode. You keep mentioning small ball, Amy. I just want to throw this out there. I don't know if you got a chance to see how the Little League World Series was won this past weekend.
Why don't you tell us?
So the American team, the Florida team, beat Chinese Taipei on a bunt, ladies and gentlemen, on a bunt. Did you see the play?
No, I didn't. But that's
Okay, so
amazing. Especially because some of our guys were bunting in this series as well.
So this was the situation: extra innings, bottom of the inning. The American team has a runner in scoring position. They bunt, and I feel so bad for the pitcher in Chinese Taipei fields the bunt. Now the first baseman came in to try to get the bunt. The second baseman went to cover second, meaning nobody was covering first, and it was just sheer. You could tell that pitcher from Chinese Taipei has practiced this move 100 times, and it is just automatically your body knows this is what you do. You pick up the ball and you throw to first base, which is exactly what the pitcher from Chinese Taipei did, but there was nobody at first base. The ball goes down the right field line. Running around third, coming to score is America. I am a real American playing in the background. And that Florida team ends up winning the Little League World Series. And then what was so horrible was they immediately cut to shots of all the Chinese Taipei kids crying
That's
and bawling.
Horrible.
But the Little League World Series was won with a bunt, and no pun intended, because it is the Little League World Series, but small ball won the day. So I thought that would make. Go ahead, let it out. Give me credit for that. Give me credit for it. Come on.
Okay, that was all right. Plus 10 for you.
Thank you. So look, there was a lot of positivity. I know everybody is like, here goes the Prince of Darkness. Yes, I am the Prince of Darkness, but I'm not a monster. Okay, so
you choose the darkness though, because that's a choice.
So yeah, I mean, you covered the bright spots in that. I wanted to put a pin in the Walker Buehler situation only because
take it.
I feel like every time he comes out, there is this sense. I mean, there is definitely those people who think he's done, like he's never gonna regain his ability to.
Well, especially how he even talks about his own free agency coming up, like.
Yeah, that was Dylan Hernandez up doing some ruffling some feathers. I will say this. I don't know if. Okay, let me say this. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in that
like, are you about to set it up?
Yeah, in that post-game interview, Dylan Hernandez of the Los Angeles Times asked Walker Buehler about his contract situation and his pending free agency, and if he was concerned about it based on his performance. And in typical Walker Buehler fashion, he just did not bullshit, and he flat out said, "No, I'm not thinking about that. I got an ERA over 6. Like, what is there to think about? Like, I am in no position right now to demand a lot of money." Now, my thing is, I believe the question is fair, but I don't know if that's the time to ask that question. I think perhaps maybe you ask that question at the end of the year. I don't know if you ask that question in the middle of August, but that's my thing. It is a fair question because, if he does keep this up, if you're any team, I'm not even counting the Dodgers. If you're any team at Major League Baseball, and this is what I'm talking about in the sense that I think there are a group of people who just think he's done. He's never going to, regain it. But then I feel like there is another group, and it may be a very small number, that every time he goes out there to pitch, think, oh, maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the start where he's going to turn things around.
I don't know that it's necessarily like you make that sound like overly hopeful. But I feel like that's how I approach baseball in general. Like, I don't know what kind of day he's having. Maybe the next time he goes out, like he's bolstered something clicked in training, and he gets out there and it clicks on the field too. I'm not saying that one game will turn it all around, but all you need is that one baby step forward, and this is my positivity, and then you just take the next one. So to me, I agree as well that question's a little bit premature because he still has to make it through the season. As we've all seen, the game's not over till it's over. All the people, and I'm not shaming anybody because I leave early on weekdays if I have to get to work in the morning. But I bet there are a lot of
people. You hear that, Jack Flaherty? We're not shaming anyone on this show.
No, we do not shame. but like I'm sure there were people who were bummed when, Shohei hit that his home run for 40 for 40 and they missed it. And those are just the moments where it's like you never know what's going to happen in a game, and I think that's what makes it beautiful. It's not going Bueller's way right now, but that doesn't mean it couldn't turn around because we don't know. So, I mean, I would probably side with the hopeful camp. I hope he does turn it around, not just for his free agency and what comes after that, but just because you never want to see a player flounder like that. And I'm not saying that that's what you want to see. Just, I hope he really finds it.
I was very surprised by how positive his post-game interview was, because I thought for sure he's going to be pissed. He's going to be surly with all the beat reporters because he's been frustrated ever since he came back. And look, I can imagine what it must feel like to be at the level that he was once at and not be able to get back to that level. Has to be extremely frustrating. So I was very surprised to see how optimistic he was and how he was saying that he feels he's getting closer, and he's getting closer to that. But it is a very interesting question because look, the Serpientes have cut into the Dodgers lead. And this was after the Dodgers won 5 out of 6 this week. They lost the game in the standings to the Serpientes, and they only lead the Serpientes by 3 games. And there is a 4-game series coming up at this weekend between the Serpientes and the Dodgers, where all of a sudden, by the time we get together next week, General Organa, this may look very, very different. But my question is this, and I understand that right now with Glasnow down and Yamamoto down, they need pitching, but you also have to win games. And so when Bueller said, and he thinks maybe part of the reason why he was feeling good is because the Dodgers came back and won that game. But if they hadn't and they lost, the question you have to ask yourself as an organization and Dave Roberts, because you got 25 other people in that clubhouse that you owe to do. You got to make decisions to win games. And you got to ask yourself, does having Walker Buehler out there give us the best position to win a game? How much longer are they going to do that? That's the question. And maybe depending on what happens in Arizona. Now, his start got pushed back against the Orioles to give him an extra day. I'm a little worried about him pitching against the Orioles. The Orioles are a very good team. They're fighting for the division with the Yankees.
Well, that could be your decision maker right there, because this is going to be more of a glimpse of what the postseason will look like with a higher caliber team. And, yes, the offense can bolster a pitcher, but what we're seeing typically is either the starting pitching gives up too many runs in the beginning of the game, and it's really hard to mount an offense against that, or the team has a bunch of runs and then the bullpen comes in, and because they're so taxed because some of the starters aren't going the distance, then they give up runs. And so it's like our team is actually doing a better job offensively, but you're kind of getting cut down by the pitching on either side.
Well, that scenario that you just described right now is what happened this weekend against the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays. So let's hop into the Rays.
Good segue.
Hey, hi-oh. Let's hop into the Rays series where the Dodgers won the series. They won 2 out of 3. Again, they won 5 out of 6 games this week.
And they could have won the 6th.
They should have won. They should have won.
It's baseball. They could have won, but it went the other way.
So let's start with the positives. What are the good things that happened in that series, Amy?
I'll save my Kike stuff for the end. But again, playing small ball, you had Shohei join the 40 for 40 or the 40-40 club. He's one of 6 now. He's the earliest player who accomplished it in 126 games. And he did it in the same game. Stole the 40th base in the bottom of the 4th and then hit that grand slam walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th to win them that game. So kudos to him. Were you at that game?
I was not at that game. I was watching it, and this is a huge moment. Okay, let's first acknowledge the fact that he is the quickest to do it. He did it almost 20 games, maybe more than 20 games quicker than the next person. And he's the first Japanese player to join the 40-40 club. He is the first Dodger to join the 40-40 club. So it was a very big moment. I was watching it on TV, and this is what happened, Amy. I'm watching the game, and my wife is already being forced to spend her Friday night watching sports ball. And we're watching the game, and Max Muncy comes up to the plate, and she always does this. She always looks at me and she goes, "What do you think, zero or hero?" And I'm like, this is what's going to happen. Muncy's going to get walked, and Shohei's going to join the 40-40, hitting a grand slam walk-off. And
you were positive?
Because to me, this dude is so special. I mean, this guy is a unicorn. This is a guy who is doing things that nobody else is doing. And
can we just say, Will Smith came up to the plate in the bottom of the ninth. He got hit by a pitch. Tommy Edman.
He took one for the team. He looked like my cousin Charo. My cousin Charo used to do that in wiffle ball. He would stick his shoulder out so he would get hit. It was such a bullshit move, but in wiffle ball, but whatever. He took one for the team. Go ahead.
That's not what Will Smith did, but he did get hit by a pitch. Tommy Edman singled, and then Rojas laid down a sack bunt. Beautiful. Moved the guys over. And then Lux unfortunately ground out. But then, like you said, Muncy got walked, and that one was up by his head. Like he had to dodge.
He walked him on 4 pitches. He walked him on 4 pitches to get to Shohei.
Yeah. And then Shohei it was the first pitch. It just launches it.
Was it the first pitch?
I think it was the first pitch.
I just thought it's just too perfect, right? It is so ridiculous. And I know I wasn't the only one. I know everybody that was watching that game. I know everybody that was in that.
Bold statement, sir. Everyone.
I bet you everybody that was watching that game.
It was the first pitch. First pitch of his at bat, and he launched it 389 feet.
Everybody who was watching that game, everybody that was in the stadium, I bet you they're like, he's going to join the 40-40 club with a walk-off grand slam. So I'm not sitting here saying, oh, look at me, I called it, I'm way on there. This is just how ridiculous this guy is that, of course, look, you've done this before. You've always said, like, Shohei's always like, hold my beer. Like, poor Nick Ahmed, it's the home run to technically win the game. And then what does Shohei do right after him? He hits a home run. So it all becomes about Shohei. I was thinking the same thing. I don't know. Was it also on Friday when your boy Kike hit the home run? And then, of course, Shohei then hits a home run afterwards. I'm like,
no. So Kike he reset the game in the bottom of the 5th. He hit that 3-run home run, and it was beautiful. And then Shohei closed the game with that home run. So the game was essentially won on 2 home runs.
So look, for me, it is so incredible. And of course, now immediately the conversation comes, can he do 50-50?
Well, and I would just like to say, 2 things. First, let's try to get 45 to 45 or 45-45 first. But there were some people who didn't understand the magnitude of it, because there were conversations going around, at least me, that were like, well, but so-and-so has stolen this many before, and, so-and-so hit this many home runs. And it's like, yeah, but it's the collection of both that makes it important. And the fact that prior to him doing this on Friday, there were only 5 people in that club. So now there are 6, and he reached it, 20, 30 games faster than the last person who was on that list. So it is a significant accomplishment, what he's done. And the fact that he does, yes, it would be great if he got to 50-50, but even if he just has the potential to do 45-45, which nobody has done. So
look, he is on pace right now to do 51 home runs and 50 stolen bases. I would love to see him do it. I am rooting hard for him to go ahead and do this. I think it is an uphill battle for him to get to 50-50.
And Dave Roberts said he doesn't want it to impact the season. Like, the goal, and Shohei said the same thing, the goal is the World Series. Whatever accomplishments happen along the way, wonderful, but that's not the goal.
And that's part of the reason why I don't think he's gonna get there, Amy, because I think it's hard enough, because he's never, correct me if I'm wrong here, He's never hit 50 home runs in a season.
I don't think so. Did you Google it?
I haven't Googled it, but I want to say that his high was maybe 47.
Well, look at
maybe he got to 49.
Mookie was chasing, I think, the doubles goal last year, and we
Was it
saw
Mookie
how
or was it Freddie?
was it. Maybe it was Freddie, Mookie. I don't know. I thought Mookie was chasing something too. I feel like they were both chasing something towards the end of the year. Don't quote me on that, Jose Ayala. I'm not throwing out a stat, but regardless, players try to chase these things, and the closer you get to it, it almost feels like the harder it is to accomplish sometimes. So let's see, home runs. The most he's hit in a year is 44, and that was last year. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 46 in 2021.
So it was 46. Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I thought. Okay, so I think hitting the home runs is going to be hard for him to get to 50.
Well, and poor Kirsten Watson. Hopefully, the next like big milestone. Somebody asked her, I think, why didn't you move out of the way? And she's like, because I didn't see it coming. And talking to her this weekend, she was like, it was so cold. And I asked her if it was just water. No, it was their electrolyte drink that was mixed in too. So sticky, like all over. So, but I mean, kudos to her because she kept her composure, even though she was shocked as well. They got through the interview like professional, total professional.
Yeah, they got her good. And you know, when I saw her this weekend, she did say that's the worst she's gotten it since covering the team. But going back to Shohei, I think it's going to be a challenge to get the home runs. I think he can do the stolen bases, but I think what's going to stop him from getting the stolen bases is what you just said about Dave Roberts. My concern is this. I think the Dodgers are satisfied with him getting 40-40. I think now they're probably going to be very concerned that he's going to get hurt stealing bases. I think if he pulls a hamstring, because one of the things in the post game on Sunday after he got hit on the forearm was one of the questions that was asked to Dave Roberts was how scared were you that if he got hurt like Mookie got hurt, and you lose him now this late in the season, you're going to lose.
Coming back.
Yeah.
How many people, how many fans like heard that crack and were just like, the season flashed before their eyes?
Well, I didn't react to that. I was reacting more to him and what he was doing with his arm, because like you, I thought originally it was the wrist, and the fact that he kept moving it, I thought, oh no. But I looked at the replay on Spectrum and I couldn't tell if he got hit flush on the wrist but then Roberts confirmed that he was on the forearm, and they did do x-rays and it all came back negative. But I do feel that the team might put a kibosh on him stealing bases, and I think that's what's going to prevent him from going 50, because they don't want him to get like pull a hamstring or a growing injury stealing bases, and it sucks because that is to me.
We don't know that that's going to happen.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm hope I'm wrong, but I feel this organization is very conservative with their thinking, and I think what you also mentioned here, they're looking at that as an individual achievement, and they have the macro vision, right? But here.
In that statement, it wasn't like he was trying to dissuade him in any way. He was just saying, obviously, the goal, and Shohei said that in his interview post game after he got splashed as well, was, what's the next goal? The goal is the World Series. So his eye is on the prize too. Like, it's not like he's trying to, chase just this random individual accomplishment. His eye is on the World Series. He knows what's at stake if he gets injured doing this too. So it's not like, I don't know. I feel like we have so many other things, and that's more of the hypothetical of, will it, won't it? We don't know.
Yeah, I'm rooting for it. I want to see it happen. I know there's more positive. Go ahead with your Geek love.
Oh, he was the reason that we scored on Sunday's game. Like he caught that amazing ball in the top of the fifth inning. Got to hang out with the wall for a minute as he crashed into it. And then he hit a home run in the bottom of the fifth. That got the Dodgers on the board. And then it was a little bit of back and forth because the Tampa Bay Rays tied it. And then of course. Shohei gets hit by a pitch, and then Mookie Betts is like, hold my beer, hits a 2-run home run to basically secure the game. And then Muncy eventually gets up to the plate and he gets hit by a pitch. And I didn't get to see the exchange, but it sounded like he was a little frustrated with now two of the players getting hit by a pitch by Lovelady.
Yeah, but there was nothing was going to come out of it. I think, to me, I saw it from the press box. To me, that Muncy reaction was more, he got pissed that he got hurt. But that to me is a very big example.
But it's also it was on the inside of the plate, and basically what was being said was like, if you can't hit on the inside of the plate, don't throw there right now because you're hitting players, and we're too late in the season to be doing that. If you can't, it's just not okay.
Look, I totally understand that argument, but to me was the big difference between what happened between Randy Rice Arena and Jack Flaherty in the Marineros.
His name is Rosarena.
In the Marineros series, and then that series. No one, they were maybe like jawing, but nothing was going to happen.
I don't think he was mad at him for like he thought he threw at him. It's more just, bro, if you can't hit your spot, like you're hitting people, don't throw there right now. Like if you know you can't hit it today, that's not okay.
Right, but there is that old adage, if that's how the players police themselves. So exactly what you just said, Amy. Hey, dude, if you can't pitch inside, don't pitch inside. All right, you're going to keep pitching inside? Then somebody on the Dodgers needs to hit somebody on the Rays to get the message across of, dude, if you can't pitch inside, don't stop pitching inside then, or if not, we're going to do it to your guys.
Which is what I think Muncy was accomplishing with his statement or whatever before he trotted off to first base.
I mean, we can get into it in another episode, but I did find it very telling, the difference between how Jack Flaherty handled it and then what happened on Sunday. But do you have any more positives before I bring in the clouds?
Well, I mean, we're going to be wrapping up soon anyway, but basically just Hunter Fiducia had his debut, and, you know, he called a good game. It was his first time getting up in the show, like a full game, and he got his first hit. He walked and he struck out. So, you know, kudos to him for being in the game. We needed another catcher while Barnes is down.
Here is my observation to wrap things up in that series, because again, look, they won 2 out of 3. They won 5 out of 6. They've won 6 out of their last 7. You know, on paper right now, they are playing well. What happened on Saturday, I mean, we could very easily be talking about a sweep of the Marineros and a sweep of the Rays. Clayton Kershaw did not look like the same Clayton Kershaw that we saw in his previous starts. He had a rough outing, especially in that first inning. But the offense picked them up and they came back. Mm-hmm. What concerns me, and look, we've talked about this, Amy, is, you know, you get, you know, a little bit, you know, you get tricked into thinking, oh, you know, Kershaw, he's going to be our guy in the postseason.
Who's getting tricked?
well, that's again.
We need to work on your perception of hope. You can have hope, but it can still change.
but that game is a microcosm of my concerns going into the postseason. Mm-hmm. The starting pitching, and then you had pointed out, you know, we've had these games. How many games have we lost where we had a 5-run lead? Look, the same thing happened in that game on Saturday. The bullpen couldn't hold the lead. The Dodgers end up losing that game. Mm-hmm. And we've spent a lot of times talking about the starting pitching in the bullpen. One of the things that we haven't talked about as much, and this is a perfect scenario to bring it up, is I feel in those late innings, in particular the 8th and the 9th inning, Dave Roberts got outmanaged. And that is something that happens in the postseason. I ask all the beat writers, what happens to the Dodgers in the postseason? And they all tell me the same thing. It speeds up on them. And then once it speeds up on them, they can't fix it. And Dave Roberts, I think, is very good at managing a clubhouse. I think he probably does that better than anybody. I don't hear the same level of compliments for Dave Roberts when it comes to him being a tactician. And what I saw on Saturday, and this is the chess, this is the beauty of baseball, right? You make one move and the other team can counter it. And Cash, a guy, the manager of the Rays, who to this day still gets shit for pulling Snell
I
out
was gonna say it's not like Dave Roberts is an island.
in Game 6 of the 2020 World Series. But Cash countered those moves with Roberts by pinch hitting all these lefties against Evan Phillips. And the thing is that has become clear this year with Evan Phillips is that Evan Phillips really struggles against left-handed hitters. Now, Roberts acknowledged on Sunday it just didn't work out. But that to me is a scenario that is going to pop its head in the postseason because I heard this a lot from Dodger fans. Why wasn't Kopech pitching the ninth inning? Well, he wasn't pitching the ninth inning because Roberts wanted him to pitch in the eighth inning because he thought that's what the Rays were going to do in the eighth inning, was bring in all those left-handed bats against Kopech, and they like Kopech against left-handed hitters. Well, the Rays didn't do that. The Rays did it in the ninth with Phillips. So just to wrap things up, Amie, are you concerned that the Dodgers right now, it seems, are going to continue to play matchups in the late innings and that they don't have a definitive role for these guys where Kopech is your closer? Is that concerning to you at all?
I mean, I guess this is where I don't know that concerning is the word, because this is where I default into like, I don't really have control over this. Would I like to see like Kopech or Banda maybe do like a dual closing role? Sure. I think they've been the most consistent so far, but even Banda's had a little bit of a rough go, and Kopech's they're all gonna stumble. I don't know that Evan Phillips necessarily is the answer anymore. I think he's got to be somewhat more of a setup, just because we have to be able to come back from that if it doesn't go the way that we think. I hope they figure it out, I guess, is kind of where I sit, because you want to see better in the postseason. But I also understand too, just like you said, it does speed up. But at the same time, all of the algorithms and stats and sabermetrics that they use during the season, it's been proven, not just for the Dodgers, but for anybody, it doesn't work in the postseason. It's too small of a sample. So I think baseball as a whole, much like we need to look at different things with pitching, we need to look at how we approach the postseason, because it does speed up. It is a smaller sample size. Even the teams that get the week off, there are different factors that go into that need to be looked at, and different results, because you cannot apply regular season strategies to the postseason. So until other teams change that, I don't see, huge milestones made in that sector.
Yeah, it's the danger of overthinking things. It could pop its head.
It's the Moneyball factor, and as we know, it didn't work in the movie or the book or in the real season, and it's hasn't yet worked really in the postseason.
It's something I'm keeping my eye on. I'd like to see how it progresses going into September. Like I said, big series coming up against the Serpientes this weekend. Want to see how that Dodgers team handles it, especially like the Serpientes are doing all this with their two best hitters on the injured list, Marte and Walker. So,
some might say the Dodgers have done that all season. Like, we've lost a slew of people. We are just getting, much like the name of this episode, we're just starting to get healthy. Even with, like you said, Muncy being in the lineup, it looks totally different. And Roberts did say on Saturday that as far as the makeup of that lineup going forward, the players make the lineup. He's like, the manager doesn't make it. The best players play, they hit in the rightful spots, they're going to earn it. And so when they perform, they're going to be higher up in the lineup and they're going to play. And if they don't, they're going to be lower, or they're not going to play. So I guess we'll see what happens and how that impacts players, so that we hopefully don't lose more like Jason Hayward.
All right, which we're going to talk about in our next episode. So any last words, General Organa?
No, I'm going to get my black hat ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you've been listening to us on the audio portion of the show, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review, help spread the word. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Give us that thumbs up. Leave us comments. We love engaging with you. And most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media, on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Baseball Shangri-La. She is Amie Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. Nos despedimos con un beso. Amie, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.